Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your noon news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to start out with some breaking news out of ECU, where a second rape investigation is being carried out. As ECU police say, the second-degree forcible rape was reported to them yesterday. Now, this is again the second one reported in a week. Deputy Chief Chris Sutton says it happened Friday evening at Tyler Hall. He said the victim is a student and knew the suspect, who is not a student. This report comes just days after another rape was reported at Fletcher Hall, though the Tyler Hall rape happened 2 days before the other rape. In the Fletcher Hall case, the victim was also a student. The suspect was not, and they left campus when it was reported, according to police. Now, while the two circumstances in the two rapes are similar, Sutton says the two crimes are not related. And now, of course, we want to highlight the big news of the day, and that is that Hamas and Israel have reached an agreement on a ceasefire and hostage release. NBC's Richard Engel has more.
In Egypt this morning, Israel and Hamas committed to President Trump's plan to end the war in Gaza. And now, relief and celebrations in Gaza and in Israel. This was the moment when President Trump told the families of Israeli hostages over the phone that their loved ones would be coming home.
The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
Diplomacy moved quickly over the last 24 hours. Yesterday afternoon, Secretary of State Marco Rubio interrupted President Trump at a White House event.
I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East, and they're going to need me pretty quickly.
The note said Trump needed to approve a post so he could be the first to announce that the deal was reached. Under the deal, Hamas must release all the hostages it's still holding, 20 believed to be still alive, and the remains of 28 more. Israeli troops agree to pull back from Gaza in stages and free hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Aid and reconstruction materials flood into Gaza, and Hamas leaves power for good. The toll of this war has been shocking since it began on October 7th, 2 years ago, when Hamas terrorists stormed into Israel, murdering more than 1,200 people and taking 251 hostages, including babies. Israel responded by flattening Gaza, displacing the population, driving many to starvation, and killing more than 67,000, according to local health officials. Israeli officials said the military campaign was the only way to pressure Hamas, while Israeli hostages and their families waited in agony. Now, perhaps this dark page in history is turning.
And again, that was Richard Engel reporting. We now turn to your weather forecast. We've got a nice day out today, at least when you just look out your door, seeing some sunshine. We've got lower temperatures, lower humidity. But what you're not seeing out your door, the winds. Winds are breezy right now and only expected to get stronger as we head through this weekend. Here's a look at what we've got across the southeast United States. And the cold front that worked its way over the area yesterday, of course, led to a little bit more humidity than what I'm sure many of you wanted yesterday. Well, that humidity is gone as that cold front is now off the coast. But it has hit a point where it is slowing down and is now stalled. This opens the door again for a low pressure system to form along that frontal boundary. But for the time being, at least for the next, give it about 48 hours, the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, we are looking again at fairly comfortable weather, but it will remain breezy. Right now, Washington coming in with a northeasterly wind at 18 miles an hour. You can see those trees kind of doing a little bit of a dance in that breeze. 71 degrees right now in Washington, comes with a 53-degree dew point. Yesterday, we were looking at dew points in the upper 60s to low 70s. So we have certainly seen quite the change, not just with your air temperatures, which right now are showing about a 7 to 13 degree cool down from yesterday. we are also again seeing a massive drop in humidity, and it's making it feel like autumn is truly here. Current air temperatures right around the 70-degree mark, but over the past 24 hours, losing out on the type of humidity we had yesterday and kind of flipping it all back to the autumn feel. It's one that, again, we're actually going to be hanging on to through the weekend, despite the introduction of another storm system, another area of low pressure. Well, not really another area of low pressure. The system we had yesterday tied to a low pressure system, but we just got the front through it. This system, again, is going to be a little bit stronger in terms of wind speeds because the area of low pressure that's going to be powering it is actually going to be rolling over parts of eastern North Carolina, particularly areas between Cape Lookout and Cape Hatteras. Right around the Pamlico Sound is where that system is going to roll overhead. Now, regardless of exact track, we are again looking at impacts throughout eastern North Carolina. In fact, already feeling that breeze as we speak. A northeasterly wind currently coming in generally between around 10 to 20 miles an hour sustained. Let's take a look at gusts, and those numbers even higher. More of a 20 to 30 mile an hour gust range across eastern North Carolina right now. Of course, Piney Island getting a little bit outside of that range, reporting a 33 mile per hour gust. But when we zoom the picture out a bit further, we can kind of see how it's all going to come together. That area of low pressure is going to form right along the coast of Florida and then gather up as much moisture as it can. As it does that, it is going to be deepening or increasing, really decreasing its central pressure, which in turn increases the winds around that area of low pressure. So its intensification is going to occur not just through today and tomorrow, but through Saturday as well. On Saturday, we're anticipating more of the wet weather than the windy weather. Now, it still will be windy on Saturday, don't get me wrong, but the strongest winds will likely show up late Saturday night into Sunday, really through the day. Sunday, at least Sunday afternoon, maybe even Sunday evening. The winds should start to die down by Monday, but the path of this system, you got to remember that it's going to be getting stronger as it moves over eastern North Carolina. And again, that's going to accelerate those winds and potentially lead to some coastal flooding, particularly along Ocracoke. Soundside flooding is expected coming up on Sunday, if possibly even Saturday as well. We could also see some flooding around the Albemarle Sound, certainly the south side, so really the north side of Washington, Terrell, and mainland Dare counties could see some elevated water levels. Those of you watching kind of along the Neuse River in southern Craven County, you guys are also, again, looking at some water level rises coming up for the weekend. I think it'll be a little bit more pronounced on Sunday than on Saturday, but I don't want to undersell Saturday's potential for some coastal flooding based on wind speeds alone. Now, the good news is that Tropical Storm Jerry, while it is expected to become a hurricane, is going to be staying well away from eastern North Carolina. It's going to be staying about 100 miles to 150 miles off the coast of Bermuda, which should keep it at least 600 miles off of our coast. We're not going to be seeing any action from this system. At least we won't be able to track it directly back to Jerry. But Jerry is expected to become a hurricane as we head through your Saturday morning. Category 1 hurricane as it passes by Bermuda, but then at that point it turns its way back out into the Atlantic and no longer is a concern for us. There is another area of concern in the deep northern Atlantic, north of the Azores, but that one has a 10% chance of development and shows no signs of impacting not only eastern North Carolina, but North America as a whole. So your 8-day forecast, things are looking pretty nice if you don't mind some windy weather. Windy conditions today and tomorrow get turned up a little bit more on Saturday and even more so on Sunday. Saturday is going to be the wetter day of the weekend, but we will still have some spotty showers and some downpours in the forecast coming up for your Sunday. Sunday is not going to be dry, but it's going to be drier than what we'll experience on Saturday. And then on Monday, winds will gradually start to die down. The area of low pressure will pull itself away from eastern North Carolina's coastline. We will also see some lingering rain showers mostly around the Albemarle Sound and northern Outer Banks, but those raindrops again will diminish through the day. Inland areas closer to I-95, you guys probably not going to be catching any sort of rain on Monday once we get to around 9 a.m. and after that, again, things just stay sunny and nice for the following Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as we enjoy an autumn-like pattern. Well, it's not autumn-like, it is autumn. Fall-like pattern through most of next week and carrying over into the following weekend. Well, that's all we have time for today's noon news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at 1 o'clock. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic Thursday.
This hour of the WITN First Alert Desk is sponsored by Supreme Choice.